Welcome back everyone. We're going to discuss theory B of 4.3 today, and we're going to discuss two different operations that you can do with square roots: multiplying and adding. And for adding and subtraction, the same rules apply, so you can even say three different operations. The new one that I want to start with is multiplying with square roots. And they introduce it like this. From the rule ab squared equals a squared b squared, right? Square both things separately. It follows that square root a times square root b is the same as square root a squared times square root b squared equals ab. You also know that the square root of ab squared is ab. It gives you that square root a times square root b is square root ab. You don't have to know the proof, you do have to know the rule. If I multiply the square roots, that's the same as the square root of those things multiplied together. Which means that square root 3 times square root 7 is the same as square root 3 times 7, or you can say square root 21. Okay? The other way around, or not really the other way around, if I'm going to make this a bit more complicated, let's say I add numbers in front of the square roots, you do it like this. First, multiply the numbers in front, the 3 and the 5, and let them stay in front. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 inside the square roots, you get 2 times 3. Square root 2 times square root 3 is square root 6. So my answer is 15 square root 6. For example, 5 square root 2 times square root 18. There is no number in front of my root 18. So you can say there's a 1 there. 5 times 1 is 5. Root 2 times root 18 is root 36. Hey, that one I can calculate, right? If I can calculate a root, you have to do that. Root 36 is 6. So 5 times 6 equals 30. Right? This is the rule for multiplying with roots. You can always simplify multiplications with square roots. Okay? But you cannot always simplify everything with roots if you have additions and subtractions. Just like you can simplify 3a plus 5a, you can also simplify 3 root 2 plus 5 root 2. 3a plus 5a is 8a, so they say 3 root 2 plus 5 root 2 is 8 root 2. We say 3 root 2 and 5 root 2 are like roots. And then they introduce you to the concept of like roots, like soortwortels, and they give you an example, but they don't give you a definition. So I like to give you a definition as well. Like roots are roots of the same number / letter. So here, 3 root 2 and 5 root 2 are like roots because both of them have a 2 in the root. If you have like roots, you can add them up. You can say, for example here, 3 root 2 plus 5 root 2. I have 3 roots 2, and I add 5 roots 2 to them. That gives me a total of 8 root 2s. Right, so just add the number in front. Don't change anything inside of your roots. They stay the same. Root 7 plus root 7, they are like roots. So I can add them up. One of them here, one of them there. Together there are 2 root 7s. If they are not like, for example, 3 root 2 plus 5 root 3, then you cannot simplify. You cannot write this any shorter. Right? You can also not simplify 5 plus root 2 because here there's no root and here there is, so you cannot add them up. Okay? Know the difference between multiplying and adding with roots. You can always simplify a multiplication with roots. You can always do that, remember that please. Well, for adding, you have to have like roots. So here the first one cannot be simplified because root 2 and root 7 are not like. But here you can. Let's practice. And before practicing, one small thing. When you have roots that you cannot calculate mentally, for example, root 38 and root 6 here, then you leave them in your answer. But if you can calculate them, and which one do you Are you able to calculate? Well, at least those here, I hope. Because you already know this list, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 8, 15 squared give me this number. So this is the list of squares, but then inversed for square roots. 12 times 12 is 144. So the square root of 144, for example, is 12. 3 square root 5 is the same as 3 times 5. You know that. You can do this mentally, so you have to write it down as well. This as a final answer does not suffice. Okay? And now we're going to practice. Simplify when possible, otherwise right cannot be simplified. And remember, multiplications can always be simplified. So here this I can simplify. How do I do that? Do the numbers in front of the square roots times each other and the numbers inside the square root times each other. 2 times 5 is 10. Root 3 times root 2 is root 6. Done. That's it. Because I cannot calculate root 6 mentally. Not in this list. For adding, watch out. Are they like or not? Do I have the same number inside of my root? Yes, I have, so I can add them up. 2 of them plus 5 of them gives me 7 square roots 3. Multiplication, so I know I can simplify this. 5 times, you can say 1, and square root 3 times square root 3. Yeah, you can write down square root 9. Some of you see that you do a root times a root with the same number, so you square 3, you can immediately see that the square and the square root cancel each other out. So you can also write down 5 times 3 in one go. If you want to use the rule that we just discussed, you do 3 times 3, it's 9. Square root 9 is 3, and then calculate it that way. So sometimes you can use different rules in different ways. Watch out here. Is this like or not? Yes. For addition and subtraction, watch if they have the same numbers in the square root. 5 minus 1 gives me 4 square root 3's. This is a multiplication. So you leave the 5 in front. Root 12 times root 3 is root 36. I'm not done because root 36 is 6. 5 times 6 is 30. And I already spoiled the last one. The last one cannot be simplified. Why not? It's a subtraction, and root 11 and root 2 are not like, and then you cannot simplify. Okay? Please practice this, do your homework, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Good luck!